301.0 General 301.1 Applicability. This chapter shall govern the general requirements, not specific to other chapters, for the installation of plumbing systems. 301.2 Minimum Standards. Pipe fittings, traps, fixtures, material, and devices used in a plumbing system shall be listed, third-party certified, by a listing agency, accredited conformity assessment body, as complying with the approved applicable recognized standards referenced in this code, and shall be free from defects. Unless otherwise provided for in this code, materials, fixtures, or devices used or entering into the construction of plumbing systems or parts thereof shall be submitted to the authority having jurisdiction for approval. 301.2.1 Marking each length of pipe and each pipe fitting, trap, fixture, material, and device used in a plumbing system shall have cast, stamped, or indelibly marked on it any markings required by the applicable reference standards and listing agency and the manufacturer's marker name, which shall readily identify the manufacturer to the end user of the product. Where required by the approved standard that applies, the product shall be marked with the weight and the quality of the product. Materials and devices used or entering into the construction of plumbing and drainage systems or parts thereof shall be marked and identified in a manner satisfactory to the authority having jurisdiction. Such marking shall be done by the manufacturer. Field markings shall not be acceptable. Exception: markings shall not be required on nipples created from cutting and threading of approved pipe. 301.2.2 Standards. Standards listed or referred to in this chapter or other chapters cover materials that will conform to the requirements of this code, where used in accordance with the limitations imposed in this or other chapters thereof and their listing. Where a standard covers materials of various grades, weights, quality, or configurations, the portion of the listed standard that is applicable shall be used. Design and materials for special conditions or materials not provided for herein shall be permitted to be used by special permission of the authority having jurisdiction after the authority having jurisdiction has been satisfied as to their adequacy. A list of plumbing standards that appear in specific sections of this code is referenced in Table 1701.1. Standards referenced in Table 1701.1 shall be applied as indicated in the applicable reference section. A list of additional standards, publications, practices, and guides that are not referenced in specific sections of this code appear in Table 1701.2. The documents indicated in Table 1701.2 shall be permitted in accordance with Section 301.3. An IAPMO installation standard is referenced in Appendix 4 for the convenience of the users of this code. It is not considered as a part of this code unless formally adopted as such by the authority having jurisdiction. 301.2.3 Plastic pipe fittings, and components. Plastic pipe fittings, and components other than those for gas shall comply with NSF 14. 301.2.4 Cast iron soil pipe, fittings, and hubless couplings. Cast iron soil pipe, fittings, and hubless couplings shall be third-party certified in accordance with ASTM C 1277 and CISB 310 for couplings and ASTM A888, ASTM 74, and CISP 301 for pipes and fittings. 301.2.5 Existing buildings. In existing buildings or premises in which plumbing installations are to be altered, repaired, or renovated, the authority having jurisdiction has discretionary powers to permit deviation from the provisions of this code, provided that such proposal to deviate is first submitted for proper determination in order that health and safety requirements, as they pertain to plumbing, shall be observed. 301.3 Alternate materials and methods of construction equivalency. Nothing in this code is intended to prevent the use of systems, methods, or devices of equivalent or superior quality, strength, fire resistance, effectiveness, durability, and safety over those prescribed by this code. Technical documentation shall be submitted to the authority having jurisdiction to demonstrate equivalency prior to installation. The authority having jurisdiction shall have the authority to approve or disapprove the system, method, or device for the intended purpose. However, the exercise of this discretionary approval by the authority having jurisdiction shall have no effect beyond the jurisdictional boundaries of said authority having jurisdiction. An alternate material or method of construction so approved shall not be considered as in accordance with the requirements, intent, or both of this code for a purpose other than that granted by the authority having jurisdiction, where the submitted data does not prove equivalency. 300 MARM 1.3.1. Testing the authority. Having jurisdiction shall have the authority to require tests as proof of equivalency. 301.3.1.1 Tests shall be made in accordance with approved or applicable standards by an approved testing agency at the expense of the applicant. In the absence of such standards, the authority having jurisdiction shall have the authority to specify the test procedure. 301.3.1.2 Request by authority having jurisdiction. The authority having jurisdiction shall have the authority to require tests to be made or repeated where there is reason to believe that a material or device no longer is in accordance with the requirements on which its approval was based. 301.4 Flood hazard areas. Diagram plumbing systems shall be located above the elevation in accordance with the building code for utilities and attendant equipment, or the elevation of the lowest floor, whichever is higher. Exception: plumbing systems shall be permitted to be located below the elevation in accordance with the building code for utilities and attendant equipment or the elevation of the lowest floor, whichever is higher, provided that the systems are designed and installed to prevent water from entering or accumulating within their components, and the systems are constructed to resist hydrostatic and hydrodynamic loads and stresses, including the effects of buoyancy during the occurrence of flooding to such elevation. 301.4.1 Coastal high hazard areas. Plumbing systems in buildings located in coastal high hazard areas shall be in accordance with the requirements of Section 301.4, and plumbing systems, pipes, and fixtures shall not be mounted on or penetrate through walls that are intended to break away under flood loads in accordance with the building code. 301.5 Alternative engineered design. An alternative engineered design shall comply with the intent of the provisions of this code and shall provide an equivalent level of quality, strength, effectiveness, fire resistance, durability, and safety. Material, equipment, or components shall be designed and installed in accordance with the manufacturer's installation instructions. 301.5.1 Permit application. The registered design professional shall indicate on the design documents that the plumbing system, or parts thereof, is an alternative engineered design so that it is noted on the construction permit application. The permit and permanent permit records shall indicate that an alternative engineered design was part of the approved installation. 301.5.2 Technical data. The registered design professional shall submit sufficient technical data to substantiate the proposed alternative engineered design and to prove that the performance meets the intent of this code. 301.5.3 Design documents. The registered design professional shall provide 2 complete sets of signed and sealed design documents for the alternative engineered design for submittal to the authority having jurisdiction. The design documents shall include floor plans and a riser diagram of the work. Where appropriate, the design documents shall indicate the direction of flow, pipe sizes, grade of horizontal piping, loading, and location of fixtures and appliances. 301.5.4 Design approval. An approval of an alternative engineered design shall be at the discretion of the authority having jurisdiction. The exercise of this discretionary approval by the authority having jurisdiction shall have no effect beyond the jurisdictional boundaries of said authority having jurisdiction. An alternative engineered design so approved shall not be considered as in accordance with the requirements, intent, or both of this code for a purpose other than that granted by the authority having jurisdiction. 301.5.5 Design review. The authority having jurisdiction shall have the authority to require testing of the alternative engineered design in accordance with Section 301.3.1, including the authority to require an independent review of the design documents by a registered design professional selected by the authority having jurisdiction and at the expense of the applicant. 301.5.6 Inspection and testing. The alternative engineered design shall be tested and inspected in accordance with the submitted testing and inspection plan and the requirements of this code. 302.0 Iron pipe size, IPS, pipe 300 2.1. General iron, steel, copper, and copper alloy. Pipe shall be standard weight iron pipe size, IPS pipe. 303.0 Disposal of liquid waste, 303.1. General, it shall be unlawful for a person to cause, suffer, or permit the disposal of sewage, human excrement, or other liquid wastes in a place or manner, except through and by means of an approved drainage system, installed and maintained in accordance with the provisions of this code. 304.0 Connections to plumbing system. Required 304.1 General plumbing fixtures, drains, appurtenances, and appliances used to receive or discharge liquid waste or sewage shall be connected properly to the drainage system of the building or premises in accordance with the requirements of this code. 305.0 Damage to drainage system or public sewer. 305.1 Unlawful practices. It shall be unlawful for a person to deposit by any means whatsoever into a plumbing fixture, floor drain, interceptor, sump, receptor, or device, which is connected to a drainage system, public sewer, private sewer, septic tank, or cesspool, any ashes, cinders, solids, rags, inflammable, poisonous or explosive liquids or gases, oils, grease, or any other thing whatsoever that is capable of causing damage to the drainage system or public sewer. 306.0 Industrial waste. 306.1 Detrimental waste. Waste detrimental to the public sewer system or detrimental to the functioning of the sewage treatment plant shall be treated and disposed of as found necessary and directed by the authority having jurisdiction. 306.2 Safe discharge. Sewage or other waste from a plumbing system that is capable of being deleterious to surface or subsurface waters shall not be discharged into the ground or a waterway unless it has first been rendered safe by some acceptable form of treatment in accordance with the authority having jurisdiction. 307.0 Location 307.1 System. Except as otherwise provided in this code, no plumbing system, drainage system, building sewer, private sewage disposal system, or parts thereof shall be located in a lot other than the lot that is the site of the building, structure, or premises served by such facilities. 307.2 Ownership. No subdivision, sale, or transfer of ownership of existing property shall be made in such manner that the area, clearance, and access requirements of this code are decreased. 308.0 Improper location. 308.1 General piping. Fixtures or equipment shall not be so located as to interfere with the normal use thereof, or with the normal operation and use of windows, doors, or other required facilities. 309.0 Workmanship. 309.1 Engineering practices. Design, construction, and workmanship shall be in accordance with accepted engineering practices and shall be of such character as to secure the results sought to be obtained by this code. 309.2 Concealing imperfections. It is unlawful to conceal cracks, holes, or other imperfections in materials by welding, brazing, or soldering, or by using therein or thereon paint, wax, tar, solvent, cement, or other leak sealing or repair agent. 309.3 Bird ends. Bird ends of pipe and tubing shall be reamed to the full bore of the pipe or tube, and chips shall be removed. 309.4 Installation practices. Plumbing systems shall be installed in a workmanlike manner, which is in accordance with this code, applicable standards, and the manufacturer's installation instructions. All materials shall be installed so as not to adversely affect the systems and equipment or the structure of the building, and in compliance with all laws and other provisions of this code. All plumbing systems shall be in accordance with construction documents approved by the authority having jurisdiction. 309.5 Sound transmission assembly. Plumbing piping systems shall be designed and installed in conformance with sound limitations as required in the building code. 310.0 Prohibited fittings and practices. 310.1 Fittings. No double hub fitting, single or double T-branch, single or double tap T-branch, side inlet quarter bend, running thread, Band or saddle shall be used as a drainage fitting, except that a double hub sanitary tap T shall be permitted to be used on a vertical line as a fixture connection. 310.2 Drainage and vent piping. No drainage or vent piping shall be drilled and tapped for the purpose of making connections thereto, and no cast iron soil pipe shall be threaded. 310.3 Waste connection. No waste connection shall be made to a closet bin or stub of a water closet or similar fixture. 310.4 Use of vent and waste pipes, except as hereinafter provided in Section 908.0 through Section 911.0. No vent pipe shall be used as a soil or waste pipe, nor shall a soil or waste pipe be used as a vent. Also, single-stack drainage and venting systems with unvented branch lines are prohibited. 310.5 Obstruction of flow diagram. No fitting, fixture and piping connection, appliance, device or method of installation that obstructs or retards the flow of water, waste, sewage, or air in the drainage or venting systems in an amount exceeding the normal frictional resistance to flow shall be used unless it is indicated as acceptable in this code or is approved in accordance with Section 301.2 of this code. The enlargement of a 3-inch 80mm closet bin or stub to 4 inches, 100mm, shall not be considered an obstruction. 310.6 Dissimilar metals. Except for necessary valves where intermembering or mixing of dissimilar metals occurs, the point of connection shall be confined to exposed or accessible locations. 310.7 Direction of flow valves, pipes, and fittings shall be installed in correct relationship to the direction of flow. 310.8 Screwed fittings. Screwed fittings shall be ABS, cast iron, copper alloy, malleable iron, PVC, steel, or other approved materials. Threads shall be tapped out of solid metal or molded in solid A, BS, or PVC. 311.0 Independent systems. 311.1 General. The drainage system of each new building and new work installed in an existing building shall be separate and independent from that of any other building, and, where available, every building shall have an independent connection with a public or private sewer. Exception: where one building stands in the rear of another building on an interior lot, and no private sewer is available or can be constructed to the rear building through an adjoining court, yard, or driveway. The building drain from the front building shall be permitted to be extended to the rear building. 312.0 Protection of piping, materials, and structures. 312.1 General piping passing under or through walls shall be protected from breakage. Piping passing through or under cinders or other corrosive materials shall be protected from external corrosion in an approved manner. Approved provisions shall be made for expansion of hot water piping. Voids around piping passing through concrete floors on the ground shall be sealed. 312.2 Installation. Piping in connection with a plumbing system shall be so installed that piping or connections will not be subject to undue strains or stresses, and provisions shall be made for expansion, contraction, and structural settlement. No plumbing piping shall be directly embedded in concrete or masonry. No structural member shall be seriously weakened or impaired by cutting, notching, or otherwise, as defined in the building code. 312.3 Building sewer and drainage piping diagram. No building sewer or other drainage piping or part thereof, constructed of materials other than those approved for use under or within a building, shall be installed under or within 2 feet, 610 millimeters, of a building or structure, or less than 1 foot, 305 millimeters, below the surface of the ground. 312.4 Corrosion, erosion, and mechanical damage piping subject to corrosion, erosion, or mechanical damage shall be protected in an approved manner. 312.5 Protectively coated pipe. Protectively coated pipe or tubing shall be inspected and tested, and a visible void, damage, or imperfection to the pipe coating shall be repaired in an approved manner. 312.6 Freezing protection. No water, soil, or waste pipe shall be installed or permitted outside of a building, in attics or crawl spaces, or in an exterior wall unless, where necessary, adequate provision is made to protect such pipe from freezing. 312.7 Fire-resistant construction diagram, piping penetrations of fire resistance rated walls, partitions, floors, floor ceiling assemblies, roof ceiling assemblies, or shaft enclosures shall be protected in accordance with the requirements of the building code. In Chapter 14, Fire Stop Protection, 312.8 Waterproofing of openings. Joints at the roof around pipes, ducts, or other appurtenances shall be made watertight by the use of lead, copper, galvanized iron, or other approved flashings or flashing material. Exterior wall openings shall be made watertight. Counterflashing shall not restrict the required internal cross-sectional area of the vent. 312.9 Steel nail plates, plastic and copper or copper alloy piping, penetrating framing members to within 1 inch, 25.4 millimeters, of the exposed framing shall be protected by steel nail plates, not less than number 18 gauge, 0.0478 inches, 1.2 millimeters in thickness. The steel nail plate shall extend along the framing member not less than 11.5 inches, 38 millimeters, beyond the outside diameter of the pipe or tubing. Exception, see Section 12, 10.3.3, 31, 2.10. Sleeves diagram sleeves shall be provided to protect piping through concrete and masonry walls and concrete floors. Exception, sleeves shall not be required where openings are drilled or bored. 312.1.1 Building loads. Piping through concrete or masonry walls shall not be subject to a load from building construction. 312.10.2 Exterior walls. In exterior walls, annular space between sleeves and pipes shall be sealed and made watertight, as approved by the authority having jurisdiction. A penetration through fire-resistive construction shall be in accordance with Section 312.7, 312.10.3 Firewalls. A pipe sleeve through a firewall shall have space around the pipe, completely sealed with an approved fire-resistive material in accordance with other codes. 312.11 Structural members. A structural member weakened or impaired by cutting, notching, or otherwise shall be reinforced, repaired, or replaced so as to be left in a safe structural condition in accordance with the requirements of the building code. 312.12 Rodent-proofing strainer plates on drain inlets shall be designed and installed so that no opening exceeds 1/2 of an inch, 12.7 millimeters, in the least dimension. 312.121 Meter boxes. Meter boxes shall be constructed in such a manner as to restrict rodents or vermin from entering a building by following the service pipes from the box into the building. 312.12.2 Metal collars. In or on buildings where openings have been made in walls, floors, or ceilings for the passage of pipes, such openings shall be closed and protected by the installation of approved metal collars securely fastened to the adjoining structure. 312.1.2.3 Tub waste openings. Tub waste openings in frame construction to crawl spaces at or below the first floor shall be protected by the installation of approved metal collars or metal screens securely fastened to the adjoining structure with no opening exceeding 1/2 of an inch, 12.7 millimeters, in the least dimension. 313.1 General piping, fixtures, appliances, and appurtenances shall be supported in accordance with this code, the manufacturer's installation instructions, and in accordance with the authority having jurisdiction. 313.2 Material diagram. Hangers and anchors shall be of sufficient strength to support the weight of the pipe and its contents. Piping shall be isolated from incompatible materials. Primary suspended. Piping 313.4 Alignment. Piping shall be supported in such a manner as to maintain its alignment and prevent sagging. 313.5 Underground installation diagram. Piping in the ground shall be laid on a firm bed for its entire length. Where other support is otherwise provided, 313.7 Gas. Gas piping shall be supported by metal straps or hooks at intervals, not to exceed those shown in Table 12, 10.2.4.1, .314.0, Trenching, Excavation, and Backfill 314.1. Trenches deeper than the footing of a building or structure, and paralleling the same, shall be located not less than 45 degrees, 0.79 radians, from the bottom exterior edge of the footing, or as approved in accordance with Section 301.0314.2, tunneling and driving. Tunneling and driving shall be permitted to be done in yards, courts, or driveways of a building site. Where sufficient depth is available to permit, tunnels shall be permitted to be used between open-cut trenches. Tunnels shall have a clear height of 2 feet, 610 millimeters, above the pipe, and shall be limited in length to 1/2 the depth of the trench, with a maximum length of 8 feet, 2,438 millimeters. Where pipes are driven, the drive pipe shall be not less than one size larger than the pipe to be laid. 314.3 Open trenches excavations required to be made for the installation of a building drainage system or part thereof within the walls of a building shall be open trench work and shall be kept open until the piping has been inspected, tested, and accepted. 314.4 Excavations. Excavations shall be completely backfilled as soon after inspection as practicable. Precautions shall be taken to ensure compactness of backfill around piping without damage to such piping. Trenches shall be backfilled in thin layers to 12 inches, 305 millimeters, above the top of the piping with clean earth, which shall not contain stones, boulders, cinder fill, frozen earth, construction debris, or other materials that will damage or break the piping or cause corrosive action. Mechanical devices such as bulldozers, graders, etc., shall be permitted to be then used to complete backfill to grade. Fill shall be properly compacted. Precautions shall be taken to ensure permanent stability for pipe laid in filled or made ground. Underground thermoplastic pipe and fittings for sewers and other gravity flow applications shall be installed in accordance with this code and Section 314.41, 314.41, installation of thermoplastic pipe and fittings. Trench width for thermoplastic sewer pipe shall be not less than 1.25 times the outside diameter of the piping plus 12 inches, or the outside diameter of the piping plus not less than 16 inches, 406 millimeters. Thermoplastic piping shall be bedded in not less than 4 inches, 102 millimeters, of granular fill supporting the piping. The backfill for thermoplastic piping shall be compacted along the sides of the piping in 6-inch, 152 millimeter layers and continue to not less than 12 inches, 305 millimeters, above the piping. Compaction shall be not less than an 85% standard Proctor density. 315.0 Joints and connections. 315.1 Unions. Approved unions shall be permitted to be used in drainage piping where accessibly located in the trap seal or between a fixture and its trap. In the vent system, except underground or in wet vents, at any point in the water supply system, and in gas piping as permitted by Section 12, 12.51, 315.2 Prohibited joints and connections. A fitting or connection that has an enlargement, chamber, or recess with a ledge, shoulder, or reduction of pipe area that offers an obstruction to flow through the drain shall be prohibited. 316.0 Increasers and reducers. 316.1 General. Where different sizes of pipes and fittings are to be connected, the proper size increasers or reducers or reducing fittings shall be used between the two sizes. Copper alloy or cast iron body cleanouts shall not be used as a reducer or adapter from cast iron drainage pipe to iron pipe size, IPS pipe. 317.0 Food handling establishments. 317.1 General food or drink shall not be stored, prepared, or displayed beneath soil or drain pipes unless those areas are protected against leakage or condensation from such pipes reaching the food or drink as described below. Where building design requires that soil or drain pipes be located over such areas, the installation shall be made with the least possible number of joints and shall be installed to connect to the nearest adequately sized vertical stack with the provisions as follows. Openings through floors over such areas shall be sealed watertight to the floor construction. Floor and shower drains installed above such areas shall be equipped with integral seepage pans. Soil or drain pipes shall be of an approved material as listed in Table 17, 01.1, and Section 7, 01.2. Material shall comply with established standards. Cleanouts shall be extended through the floor construction above. Piping subject to operation at temperatures that will form condensation on the exterior of the pipe shall be thermally insulated. Where pipes are installed in ceilings above such areas, the ceiling shall be of the removable type or shall be provided with access panels to form a ready access for inspection of piping. 318.0 test gauges, 318.1 general tests in accordance with this code, which are performed utilizing dial gauges, shall be limited to gauges having the following pressure graduations or incrementations. 318.2 pressure tests, 10 psi or less, required pressure tests of 10 pounds force per square inch, psi, 69 kilopascals, or less shall be performed with gauges of 0.10 psi, 0,69 kilopascal, incrementation or less. 318.3 pressure tests, greater than 10 psi to 100 psi. Required pressure tests exceeding 10 psi, 69 kilopascals, but less than or equal to 100 psi, 689 kilopascals, shall be performed with gauges of 1 psi, 7 kilopascals, incrementation or less. 318.4 pressure tests exceeding 100 psi. Required pressure tests exceeding 100 psi, 689 kilopascals, shall be performed with gauges incremented for 2% or less of the required test pressure. 318.5 pressure range test gauges shall have a pressure range not exceeding twice the test pressure applied. 319.0 medical gas and vacuum systems, 319.1 general. Such piping shall be in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 13. The authority having jurisdiction shall require evidence of the competency of the installers and verifiers. 320.0 Rehabilitation of piping systems. 320.1 General. Where pressure piping systems are rehabilitated using an epoxy lining system, it shall be in accordance with ASTM F2831.